Where are we?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. How are you? Welcome. Cheers, everybody. We have a fun show this evening. But first, Pat, I'd love to hear about how you're doing. How is your week, my friend?
Right off the can't you wait until I've had some cocktails before you ask me
Slurp
that?
it down. We did have a little bit of a pregame, but go ahead. Tell me.
I do actually have a triple IPA here and obviously a whole bar back here.
Yeah,
fun goodness.
We had to really prepare for this week's contest winner. I see we got a Moscow Mule in the chat. Hi, Adria. Hi, nice. Mary. We've got Devin, Jesco, Daniel, SA. Welcome, welcome. We had so many fun drink suggestions.
Yes. Okay, so I was thinking about it. My week. Here's a summary of my week. Here's a day. This starts bad, and I'm laughing about it because she's my friend and whatever.
Okay.
My cancer friend got bad info.
Oh.
And it might be moving. So that's one thing. That starts off bad. I work 12 hours. Not the best. Get home and my cat shit on my pillow.
No, why? What did you do to poor Pablo? What happened?
You know, he just every once in a while he has to claim this place, so he left one right on top of my pillow.
He's like, will you stop making fun of Dark Brandon?
He's literally screaming behind me now too.
I cannot believe that. I think you have to give him away.
I'm gonna have to at least put him out. Should I put him to sleep?
What the hell?
Can I legally put him to sleep after that?
Has he ever done that before?
He has. So
on
he got locked.
Pillow?
Well, so I'm trying to make him an indoor cat because I know it's the right thing to do, but he literally will attack me and cut me if I don't let him out.
Oh my God.
But so I was gone overnight and came back in the morning to that gift and
he was sad because you weren't there. That's why.
Yeah, he has a litter box. He uses it, but if I'm gone too long, he lets it know.
He reminds you why you should not do that.
Are you hearing him on the mic, by the way?
Yeah, I do. That's really funny. I hope he's not pooing on your. Can you close the door to your room?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him out, but
yeah,
keep the troops entertained.
Oh, right now you mean?
Yes,
yes. I don't hear him, but you can do whatever you want. Yeah, I know. I got it. Yeah, Daniel, who amongst us hasn't shit on Pat's bed? Well, I guess I belong to a small club then. That's so funny. And then he's left. He's left. It's just me on the screen by myself. All right. So yesterday was Valentine's Day. I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day. If you are like me and you have been with your partner for 30 years since I was 5, bless you.
I'm allergic to the bastard too. Just to cap it all. Oh
my God, you are a saint.
Back to your Valentine's story.
Yeah, I mean, we basically foraged for leftovers in the refrigerator, and we're like, "Cheers, happy Valentine's Day." We watched a good comedy special that was just pushing on the edge. What's his name? Jim Jeffries. There was some stuff. I'm curious to see what the response is, but it was fun. He's funny. He's pretty good. Thank you, Saul. Yes, 30 years. And yes, Daniel, I was a child bride. I was 5. No. Oh, there's my dog howling.
Special dog and animal edition.
Yeah, exactly. We're waiting, and actually I'm okay to there he is. We were just gonna say we're waiting to bring on our contest winner for the week, who came up with the craziest drink suggestion I've ever seen, which is why we had to roll our whole bar into our little studios here.
Basically, I had to stock a bar because all I carry is bourbon usually. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Before we bring him on, though, I think we have a clip We have a new segment clip.
Yeah,
Just want to
let's do
stop
it.
you before we got to it.
Cocktail of the week, baby.
And Kiko, good to see you in the chat. We'll have you on here in just a second.
Okay, what are y'all thinking about that? Kiko is coming. He said he's just grabbing his bottle opener, and we're gonna bring him on right now.
And full disclosure,
I'm opening it. Give me more. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on.
Kiko, thank you for joining us.
There we go. All right. Here we go.
Cheers. Oh, look at you. But we're going to make that crazy concoction that you sent, that you're our winner this week.
I appreciate being the winner of the drinking contest. So cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers. All right. So we're going to make it right now and drink it on air. But we wanted you to kind of talk us through it. And then I know you're going to go when we get to the wheel. But that way you can like help us get through this crazy drink. I'm just going to put up the actual drink.
Can I just say thank you for torturing us with this 6 alcohol. I mean, you got every liquor there is. We
Vodka,
used to call
gin, rum, triple sec, blue curacao, peach schnapps, and if that wasn't all gross enough, a can of an energy drink that you leave in there.
I mean, look, I just discovered this drink about over a year ago.
Okay,
and I fell in love with it. So
all right.
Yeah, when I get off from work and I'm having the worst day ever, I'm getting a trash can.
Here we go. All right, well let's start, right?
Well, can I just point something out here? Yeah. In the preparation there, you pour in all 6, 7 of these cocktail drinks, and at the end it says drink responsibly. Which, can I just tell you that's literally impossible?
Yeah, it's totally impossible.
Yeah. Okay. So we're starting with the blue curacao. I got mine right here.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Holy crap.
Blue curacao in the bottom. Oh my God. I love that color.
Shot worth.
Okay. Right. Then we move on to what? You want to talk us through it? What's the next step? Just all the clear liquors?
I think it's all clear liquor.
All right.
I think you saved one of them to the end though.
Really?
Yes, you save the Red Bull in the end.
Yeah, right? At the end.
You save that.
We go vodka, gin, rum. We already did the blue curacao. So we
go. So got it.
I'm already dropping stuff. Crazy.
You're not drinking responsibly.
I know. I can't. I'm really gonna do vodka, gin, and rum. It's like it's sort of like a Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, I was gonna say we used to just drink Long Islands, but it's kind of the same vibe.
It's kind of the same vibe. It's just let me tell you, and I know this is going to get me where I want to go fast, but normally I like just like a 2 ingredient thing because you put it, or like a bottle of wine. So this is making me slow down a little bit. Did I do rum already? No. Also, I'm already, because we already pre-gamed a little bit. Also,
see, I knew it. You guys are pre-gaming, so I'm jealous. Okay, just say it.
Right, no, yeah,
did anyone in the audience see me pour vodka in here yet?
I know.
I think I poured it in already.
There's a lot of ingredients here. Triple sec.
There's a lot to the trash can. Trust me. When
I had it
the first
you
time,
should make a pitcher, maybe like a pitcher, and then just keep it in the fridge for the whole week.
Maybe. God. I mean, but do you really want to go overboard with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know you're right. Are you drinking this tonight or no?
No. See, I'm leaning back with me and my typical Mexican self with a bottle of Corona. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Oh my God, I don't think I've had peach schnapps since high school. My liver remembers. Okay, so that's everything there, right? Yeah, and now it's the.
Can someone call in sick for me?
Yeah, I'll call your boss. Hey, guys, Pat's not coming in today.
All right.
Lila, if you could make sure to end the feed.
Yeah. Just press goodbye. All right. Oh, and okay, sorry, I need to look. 5.5 shots in a Red Bull. So yes, it's a Long Island iced tea with Red Bull. I'm reading everything. Good.
Oh, real quick. This was the question. You see how the bottle is, the Red Bull is just tipped in the can? How do you, well, if I have more Red Bull in here that
you just tip it in and then just let it soak in with the rest of the drink and you just drink the drink. That's what
will it remain in the can without spilling over, or will it? No,
you just put the whole can in the drink.
All right, upside down. Here I go. It's my last bit. Here we go, and I'm just leaving it there.
Leaving it there, and then you take the can out.
Oh,
then you drink it.
Drink the can.
Yeah, take the can.
Can in there like my garnish, like a big old garnish.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Projectile spewing. I know, Kiko, just drinking a beer. All right.
The green screen blocks this out, thankfully, but this looks
funny.
toxic as goddamn hell.
All right. Well,
cheers, everybody.
Cheers to a good drink, guys, and to a wonderful Wednesday. So
thank you, and thanks for watching. We're sending you your shot glass.
Oh, hell yes. All right. Well, I'll definitely.
All right, keep going.
Pat will have the information.
Holy cow.
I told you it's good. It's really strong. So.
Do you mix it? I think I need to mix mine.
No, you gotta do all the.
You gotta mix it. Okay. Appreciate it, Kiko.
Kiko, you're awesome. Cheers, my friend. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys, for everything. I'll go back to watching you guys show. Have a wonderful show.
This is awesome.
We'll bring up the energy.
Yeah, thanks, Kiko. Oh my, this is quite a drink. It's actually really good.
I'm wearing shorts. So
you are. It's like a Ron Burgundy moment. I am a big fan of the blue curacao, so that's really fun.
Oh,
all right.
Can't hide the shorts.
You can't hide the shorts. We all know your secrets now. That was really fun, and I'm reading that. So Mona, I'm hoping it's Mona. I'm sorry if I always say Mona or Monad. I'm not sure, but I'm having a Czechvar. It's a beer from Czech Republic I found in a local liquor store. Oh, okay, good. Very nice. That might be Pat's thing. I can't do beers as much as I used to. Getting old. Oh my goodness.
Czech's probably a Pilsner.
I don't know.
Okay, I gotta say,
yeah.
As bad as this drink still tastes, it's so much better after you stir it. You must stir it.
I know. I kind of wish I had done it all in a yeah. It's good. It's good.
It's an unnatural color, by the way. It's like
that's
the weirdest
my favorite
algae
part of it is that, hey, Noli, and is that it's blue. I think that's what's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I have.
All right. Yeah. Tell me.
Well, I have flashbacks from blue drinks because we went camping once and I made this huge jug of blue drink.
Yeah.
With all our booze, and then got there and realized I was the only one that brought booze. So all we had to drink was this toxic blue drink for the entire weekend camping.
Do you remember any of that weekend?
That's
how I felt when we went to New Orleans, and I was so, so as I said, I've been with my husband Josh for 30 years, and he's a writer, and I've never seen him take a full weekend off, even on vacation. And we went to New Orleans for a friend's wedding years ago before we even had kids. We were only there for 2 nights, and he was like, I gotta work. And so I was just strolling the street at like 9:30 in the morning, and there are these stands where you can just get hurricanes, which knock you on your ass at 9:30 in the morning, just strolling around with those hurricanes. It was the best. So you gotta take care of yourself when your husband's working on vacation.
Right. Street vendor love right there.
Mm-mm. All right, should we get to it? There's a lot. Part of the reason we chose that drink, which is so much funny. Yes, maybe we will drink this drink again. Although we need a green drink next month. We should start. But part of the reason that we chose this drink is because the dumpster fire. It felt fitting it felt along the theme of the week for our nation and our world. Trash can drink. So it is appropriate. And I think if Pat and I vomit on air, That's also appropriate. All right, let's see the wheel. What do we got? Are we ready to spin the wheel?
I think we shall.
Let's do it. All right. What do we have for our wheel this week? We have got progressive GOP, train wreck, COVID for all. I can't even read it, even though, Kamala, ha, ha, ha. I'm seeing double. And the timeline cleanse. Let's spin the wheel.
Yeah, baby.
Got the cover, Kamala.
Yeah.
We're right to it.
God, this story has so many awful layers to it, honestly. You know, I think, first of all, it's just devastating. The carcinogens, toxins that have been released into the air, the water, killing animals, making people sick. We're seeing reports of it going over into Canada. It's
in the river, obviously.
It's in the river that goes to many other states.
And the food sources coming out of Ohio are all going to be impacted by this, that we all eat, all of us.
Yeah. You know, so again, as with every story, it's got all this intersectionality. It's got like the horrific reminder of the fact that this is what the railroad workers were striking to try to prevent, that the way their hours have been cut and the number of employees have been cut forces people to work in dangerous conditions. The fact that the CEOs have reinvested the money that they make with stock buybacks instead of investing it in, you know, keeping up with their equipment, and the fact that Biden and Democrats and Republicans, of course, broke a strike and sent all these people back to work, even though it took them years to amass the support and go through the proper channels to file to strike. And then to see people coming in to protect Pete, and to see, I mean, it's like, it's got everything that's a horror show.
Well, you left out a few. The fact that Joe Biden hasn't mentioned it once, the fact that the media isn't covering it at all, the fact that until maybe yesterday, if you asked anyone you knew who wasn't really into politics, they had no idea what you're talking about. And most of them still won't even know when you bring up the railway.
Yep. And then I've seen some liberals like, well, that's right-wing Ohio. Maybe you should vote better, which is like, oh my God, so repulsive. Yeah, it's kind of got all of it. Should we just start from the beginning?
I think we should show the Sirota video just to explain the situation. And it gives you some details you may not already know if you are following the story too.
We just saw in the middle of the country a giant chemical fireball, 100-foot flames, and very few people asking questions about what led up to this. So there was a derailment in 2012 in New Jersey,
releasing 20,000 gallons of dangerous chemicals and noxious gas into the air.
There's children in the town that are being affected by this.
And there was pressure on regulators to do something about those kinds of trains. And so the Obama administration had a rule proposed to better regulate these trains. The National Transportation Safety Board told the regulatory agency, said, listen, these regulations should broadly cover not just oil, they should cover what's known as Class 2 chemicals. And the chemical industry lobbyists went to work pressuring the regulatory agency to limit the definition of what a high hazard flammable train is. Limit it in a way that the train in Ohio, that kind of train ended up not being classified as a high hazard flammable train.
The NTSB closely monitoring 4 cars that are filled with vinyl chloride. It has been found to be linked to cancer.
Trains that were subject to this rule were going to be required to use a special kind of new braking system to try to deter or at least reduce the damage from derailments.
ECP delivers the unmatched performance of air brakes with the precision of electronic communications.
Most trains in the country are still using technology from the Civil War era, but the moment the government was considering making it a mandate. The railroad industry's changed its tune. It cited cost concerns to pressure against that rule.
We want to see federal regulations when they're necessary, not just in reaction to a headline in the Washington Post.
Obama's rule included that measure to expand the larger use of those brakes on the nation's rail system. But in that 2016 election year, the Republican Party got about $6 million from the rail industry, and Senate Republicans started beating the drum for Trump to repeal the rule. Donald Trump repealed the brake rule so that the industry does not have to even start to use these kinds of brakes. One former Federal Railroad Administration regulator told us that these brakes, which are known as ECP brakes, would have mitigated a disaster like this. And we just learned today, after the publication of our story, federal officials told us that this train did not have those brakes on the train.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so many liberals, Democrats have jumped in to blame Trump, which fine. Yes. I mean, that is what Republicans always do. They deregulate and they starve government of agency to show government doesn't work and to, give their donors more money. But the truth is that's what Democrats do too, because newsflash, we've had a new president for 2 years. Like, what the hell? And he just shut down a strike where the workers were complaining about this very thing, warning about
very thing. And Pete has already said he had no intention of rolling back these regulations and reinstating them. So he went. The first statement out of his mouth was that he wasn't going to reinstate the regulations.
Yeah, he said there will be more derailments. Yeah, he's been particularly awful. I'm trying to look about all these different things. There's been, well, first of all, I'm not.
Let's just talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about that they're worth 55. What? How many?
That's billion.
Million. What
That's
is
billion.
that? It's billion. $55 billion. Offered $25,000 donation,
which comes to $5 for each resident. $25,000. And by the way, you could give each resident $1 million. And it doesn't matter because a generation of kids, of people are going to be born with, more cancer, or going to get more cancer. They're going to have birth defects. I mean, the way the US talks about Chernobyl and the Russian response and how it was something that was uniquely Russian and evil, and here we are. I mean, by the way, like, we already poisoning our water in Flint, in Jackson. Neither one of those has been fixed. I think there was another boil advisory in one of those two places just recently, but it's never truly been fixed. So it's all talk. They don't do anything. And when you actually try to speak the truth about it and talk about how completely corrupt and inept they've been, all you get is pushback from party line cheerleaders.
Well, why on earth are our train lines still for-profit businesses? Like, every other country has figured out, you need to privatize, you need to have public ownership. Nationalize the railways. I mean, we even Amtrak, which goes all across the US, it's a capitalist venture. It's a for-profit venture.
Yep.
And I mean, for example, I was taking class in San Francisco, and I would take the local train to BART, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit, which is the subway essentially, to get to school, which cost me, $75 round trip. Yep. So that's not cost saving. It's convenient for me, but you're not even encouraging people to take public transit from the capital to the biggest city nearby, San Francisco. Yeah. You can't do that one way. You have to do all this jumping around stuff.
Yeah.
And the railways, even for Amtrak, they're owned privately. So even Amtrak, pedestrians, whatever. This is the blue drink talking already.
Patrons, customers.
Amtrak has to pull over and wait once in a while because a train will come through, and the business comes before the customers on the train. So you can't rely on how long it'll take you to get somewhere, because you could be pulled over for half an hour going to San Francisco from here.
Yep.
It's 2 hours away.
Yeah. And of course, our Pete's big push is for electric vehicles, which most people can't afford, but also does not actually help. What we need is nationalizing mass transit and really investing in our infrastructure. I mean, you look at what China's done over the past decade with their high-speed rail. We have nothing like that in this whole country. But and by the way, you know, and I can't find it right now because that blue thing hits hard. That trash can hit you over the top of the head. I'm trying to find in our slides here, but I get there's upwards of 1,000 rail derailments, railroad derailments, train derailments every year. They don't all carry, you know, carcinogens in them, but also I'm not really totally sure why they could not have sequestered the wreckage, why they had to set it on fire to make sure that all of those toxins spread. I don't even understand what that cleanup was. And of course, at this point, they're investigating themselves, which we all know how that works. Yeah. This is more than Ohio. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm across the Lake Erie in southern Ontario, Canada by Niagara Falls. And me and my family and I have had nonstop headaches for about 7 days straight now. We can literally smell the chlorine over here in Canada. This is bigger than they're telling us. Yeah. And they're saying it's safe to go back. That's what they're saying now. It's safe to go back. I mean, it's like Obama drinking the water in Flint all over again. I mean, it's just disgusting. And, you know, I think, listen, we saw that happen. It was jaw dropping. We see what they've done with COVID, what they're doing with climate disaster, what, you know, I don't think anybody trusts our government anymore. But people, even if you don't trust them and you know that it's not safe, people don't necessarily have the ability just to pick up and leave their homes. I mean, like that, you know, I think the minimum in that area of East Palestine is $44,000 a year. That's not enough to just be able to like pick up, leave your work for a few weeks and go rent a hotel room.
No, it's an absolute tragedy. And to me, the biggest revelation, I guess, from this is really how corporate owned our media is. Like to ignore this of all issues, probably one of the biggest ecological disasters of my lifetime. Next to maybe, I don't even know next to, but the oil spills back in the 80s.
Yeah. Well,
are close,
yeah.
but I
and
mean,
even I think early like BP oil spill, yeah.
But those were covered like crazy. It was nonstop. But now we've got this.
Do you know who was president when that BP oil? I mean, sorry, but I think that's what it is. Yeah, it was George W. And they covered it all the time. Just like with when COVID first started, it was the death ticker at the bottom. And as soon as Biden came into power, they took it away. Yeah, I mean, really what's happening is they're circling the wagon and protecting Biden and Pete. And then here's a reporter, Evan Lambert for News Nation, who went down there to cover a press conference and the police arrested them. And so that's what happens. I mean, what we're seeing all over, we saw it in Cop City here. Those are police that are being hired by Norfolk Southern. So those police are there specifically to protect CEOs and Capitol. That's all that's all police are really doing anyway. But yeah.
Right. He was just at a press conference from the governor, DeWine, is it? Or something like that?
Yeah. Ohio, DeWine, yeah.
And he wasn't allowed to ask a question. He was escorted out. And there's video of them, you know, not having
pushing
any real
him onto the ground
to arrest him.
No. Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
But
which, yeah, so instead of the media covering this stuff, we get the exact opposite. We get journalists arrested. That's how far the media is.
Journalists arrested who are trying to cover it. Yeah. And then other journalists insisting that, yes, we are covering it. And what did you want Pete to do? It was a Trump regulation. Like we haven't had a Democrat in power since 2021. So there's been a whole bunch of people. We've got, the Krasenstein brothers. The fact that Republicans are relentlessly attacking the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, over a random train derailment in Ohio tells me only one thing. They fear Mayor Pete's political future. He'll be president one day, and Republicans know it. I mean, imagine 10 days after seeing the explosion of toxic fumes, that's your take, is that Pete's going to be he's a great candidate for president.
Yeah, and there was another criticism that got a lot of a tweet that got a lot of traction, and it was attacked as being homophobic because they called Pete a little guy or something, you know.
No, wait, I have it
Probably
somewhere.
not, but anything could be
it.
homophobic. But you know, they use the same identity
Yeah.
politics, weaponized nonsense.
Of
And it's
course.
like, why would you criticize the transportation secretary over transportation? I mean, do you hear yourself, Krasenstein?
Yeah. On the heels of all the Southwest stuff and the airline stuff over the summer, the supply chain issues, we still don't have baby formula. You know, he's done absolutely nothing. And even just recently, his big thing, this was on, what was this on? February 13th. So again, 10 days later, Pete Buttigieg makes no mention of the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, while fielding questions at the National Association of Counties this morning. It couldn't be a more exciting time for transportation. I mean, that's sick. That's like Trump level sick.
Why wasn't he asked about this by the press as well? And I mean, if he was, it was not covered, but you know, he should be asked. The press needs to pressure these guys. If the press doesn't do their job, the public has no chance of making the right decision about any of this stuff because they don't know about any of this stuff.
Yep. And they're being told that it's safe to go back. It doesn't matter that their water smells bad, that they're having headaches, that they're seeing dead fish just like on the side of the riverbanks. So they're, you know, people are seeing all this and they're being told, I wish I could read that. The reverberation of this will be incalculable for the people in 3 different states that will have to live with the consequences of chronic exposure to these chemicals. An entire region of the country will become one gargantuan cancer cluster. Contamination will live in the soil for a generation. Birth defects will start to appear in a year. Water for hundreds of thousands from the Ohio River will be potentially contaminated. But what really makes me beyond livid is that we all know not a soul will be held fully accountable, except the reporter who was arrested. Norfolk Southern will be forced to pay a fine that will equate to about 6 hours of their total yearly operating costs. A few people will lose their jobs. Nobody will do prison time because nobody broke any laws. There will be a cleanup effort, but it will be a meaningless platitude. Norfolk Southern will say they will make changes. Changes might be forced to pass incremental reform. Congress might be forced to pass incremental reform, but that's all that will happen. And that's what makes me see red. And that is 100% accurate.
Yeah, we have no power in this situation. We have none. The press isn't helping us. The progressives in Congress. I mean, okay, I'll give Bowman. Bowman said something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kudos to him. But I mean, if you're not calling out the current administration on this, you can't just vaguely call for policies to change. And you need to say it's up to Joe Biden to do something about this. It's up to Pete Buttigieg to do something about this and pressure them.
Fine them out of existence. Nationalize them. And I mean, that is what that has been proposed by many rail workers. They want it nationalized, you know.
It's just like all the fires in California with PG&E and SMUD. I mean, they both need to be nationalized. Anyone that looks at these organizations says, you know, if they aren't biased, says they're running themselves for profit and killing people for profit.
Yep.
Essentially by not taking basic precautions so they can make a few more bucks. And there's no reason we can't nationalize these. This is, and when we on the left fight for socialist policies, I don't see it happening overnight. I see, you know, maybe you can force the issues like, hey, we can get the trains nationalized, or hey, we can get universal health care, or, you know, one of these policies. But the people that are supposed to represent us, the progressives, the squad, need to be using all these issues that should be in front and center in everyone's mindset right now, and leveraging everything you can to push for socialist policies. And when they're not doing that, they're not an ally. I'm sorry. They're just not.
I mean, 100%. And Mary writes that Jamal Bowman took lots of money from the rail industry. I didn't know that, but I do think that he voted to break the strike, and he was part of that band of people who pretended that it was the workers who came to them to ask about putting the 7 days of paid sick leave in a separate bill, which when it was sort of like, I think it was Jordan who did a really good piece on it, talk like wheeling it back. And it was actually not that the workers came to the squad or Jamal Bowman. It was that they proposed this. Listen, we're going to vote to send y'all back to work, even though you want to strike. But let's do this as a separate bill in a way to save face.
Happen.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. So it absolutely. And I see Kim
which
just
makes all of them strike breakers.
100. They're all scabs.
And
it's on all of them. This is on all of them. Yeah. And I mean, what a travesty, because of all this, all the lies about masks. Nobody's gonna, if only they were wearing masks. It's like one thing after another. Yeah.
Celebrating this.
Unbelievable. New Palestine disaster, filling the Ohio River with dangerous chemicals, poisoning the water of Yokel Central. What a lovely thing to say. Gee, that's too bad. Perhaps they'll reevaluate their voting patterns a bit. They won't. Meanwhile, these trains run across the whole country. If you think it's only going to happen, I mean, just 3 more happened in the last couple days in different states.
And even this is where all the faulty logic and shitty look, even if you think Republicans are all pure evil, should die, the state has at least a third of them are Democrats. I mean, so even on that basic stupid premise, you're an idiot. I mean,
and it's probably, honestly, it's probably more than that. But even so, and what about the kids? It's like like calling it the pandemic of the unvaccinated at the time when nobody under 12 could even get vaccinated. It's like, well, and you all can just fuck off and die. I mean, the way this country has just decided, or so many, and I don't think it's most people. I don't think it's most people on the ground. I really don't. I think it's these people who probably a lot of them are paid by the DNC to write stupid, awful tweets like that. But anybody who's coming to Pete's defense, I mean, I got a lot of deal with it. Bernie lost to Pete in Iowa, which, first of all, not true. Sorry. But also, what does that have to do with anything? Like, he's Secretary of Transportation right now. What is he doing? Not his job.
Yeah, but what could he do? He inherited this from Trump, and he inherited it from Trump, and now it's 2 years in, we don't have Congress, so we can't change anything now. It's not. There's literally nothing he can do now, unless you
Trump
vote harder.
Was all powerful.
Vote harder in 2024 if you want trains to be safe.
I mean, end abortion and COVID. I mean, I don't even know what they've got to run on anymore. It's crazy. I don't understand also why Republicans are allowed to do whatever they want when they have the presidency, and Democrats are completely powerless. When Democrats are in power, it's the Green Lantern theory, and you can't just force people to do what you want. And when Republicans are in power, they have all the power in the world, and they can do everything you want, so much so that then when Democrats have the exact same power or more, they can accomplish nothing. It's beautiful. What a system.
Well, I mean, it's because Democrats are rational, so they'll vote on some legislation for Republicans. This is bullshit. I'm just telling you the argument. But when Republicans are irrational, so the Democrats thought that we'd have some rational Republicans, but it turns out they're all irrational. So
the good Republicans.
We need to, and a couple Democrats are villains from obviously Manchin and Sinema and Bernie,
like the left. That's what they're, Bernie is bad. They would way rather embrace the fascist right than have any socialist. I mean, again, like just last week, the bipartisan vote about the horrors of socialism. You wouldn't want to nationalize the trains. That'd be awful. We love our capitalism. I mean, it's like, I have to think that the narrative is falling apart for people, but I don't know.
But I think that's why this story is so hidden, because it hits a lot of notes. It hits the Biden and the train and the strike, Biden train strike, Pete specifically, because they know that Pete's anointed. They know he is next in line and possibly in line in 24.
I mean, I
think we need to
spin the wheel.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, it's okay. It was a really good point, but I'll say.
Was it?
We have some good videos on the train wreck, but I think we don't need to show them, right?
No, let's show the video. I just want to mention that the blue drink is not bad after you drink half.
It's growing on you.
The second half is quite enjoyable.
Is it? I think it's the TikTok one, right?
Sure.
Rail workers warned us about disaster like this. I heard firsthand months ago about the corporate practice of precision scheduled railroading.
Precision scheduled railroading is shorter staff, longer hours, longer trains, less safety, less maintenance. Do I have all that right?
Oh, you got it all right. I mean, a lot of the derailments that you're seeing on national TV is one of a few things. It's lack of maintenance on the track, or they've cut the track gangs too short and they can't get out to fix it, or they've cut the carmans, which is the union that works on the rail cars. So we have one derailment here in Northeast Ohio where a wheel flange was very thin. It picked a switch and derailed the entire train. Luckily, it was full of candle wax and not something highly volatile.
Rail workers tried to strike over this stuff, but were stopped by Congress. A few weeks later, and here we are. Several Norfolk Southern cars of toxic, highly volatile chemicals exploded fantastically in the tiny town of East Palestine, Ohio, 20 miles from where I grew up. So I met Clyde in East Palestine to ask him about it.
It looks like a faulty bearing caused a catastrophic derailment. These railroads are turning profits hand over fist. They've cut their workforce to bare bones, and now they're paying the price for it because the wheels are falling off the train, basically. Carmen were inspecting cars about 3 minutes per car. That's always been the industry standard. Now it's 90 seconds per car.
Is that because of PSR?
Yes, it's a rush job right now. And these guys are under pressure. I mean, they're working men and women, and, you know, if they don't hurry up and get this car done, they're going to be fired.
Great points. So I went to a press conference with Norfolk Southern and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine to ask them about this.
What could precision scheduled railroad have to do with the axle failure that caused the derailment?
I have no idea if it's a mechanical issue. Precision scheduled railroading is a management process.
Not a great answer, and that's probably because Norfolk Southern let a worker take the fall, rather than a single corporate executive showing up in the town that they polluted to be held accountable. You see, Wall Street owns Norfolk Southern. 74% of shares are owned by a who's who of infamous hedge funds, and this is the business model that they demand. Profit at any cost. And disaster like this is simply a cost of doing business. They cut everything, make all the money, and pay off disasters in tiny flyover towns from the profit. But instead of answering for any of that, they're betting that the corporate media, under the same pressure for extreme profit as railroads, will only ask questions about how much cancer people will get and not why this preventable disaster happened.
Yeah, it turns out they're not even asking questions about the cancer.
Yeah. Oh,
they're not even, they're pretending this doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's pretty devastating. Let's spin the wheel.
Compartmentalize things. Let's do this. Let's have a shot.
Yeah, baby.
Right. Come on, look at that. Oh my God. All right, I'm going back to vodka for my shot. Where's my vodka? I have so much stuff around me right now.
Yeah, so this officially makes it what, seven types of liquor I mixed? 8, because I've got a beer. 8 kinds of liquor. I think that's what they recommend. In all the textbooks in high school, they teach you to drink a lot.
I'm gonna get myself before the pollution gets me. All right, you ready? Yeah, it's yours. Oh, there's a lot going on in here.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of tastes good after that green drink. Hey, I forgot to mention to you guys, folks, don't make the green drink. Just next week we'll put up a good drink that you can appreciate.
No, we love your drink.
And drink responsibly.
We love your drink. That's why we chose it. It's, we're old. If I were in high school, I'd know
it's good. It's like in high school, Boone's wine. Anyone old enough to remember Boone's?
Not me.
It was like flavored wine. It was like tastes like peach. There's like.
Oh yeah. I used to get those 2-liter bottles of Bartles and James. All right, let's spin the wheel.
Same thing. Instant hit.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a week without COVID. I think that we're down to more like up until Last week, we were still at 500 deaths a day. This week, at least in the last couple of days, I think it's more like 250, which is interesting.
Thank you.
But Boone's Farms, yeah. But so instead of just trying to maintain for a little bit right away, we got to take away a few more precautions. There's no more masks required in California hospitals or in New York hospitals, which is mind-blowing when you know that COVID is an airborne virus and people who are going to hospitals are already somehow compromised one way or the other. It just feels like we cannot get enough of this foolishness. I just don't know when it's going to end.
Well, we're so far from being out and protected from COVID for one.
Yeah.
So like a little dip in the numbers, which
yeah,
we're obviously getting numbers not reported as much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. By the way, I think that was 13 states reporting.
Yeah. So numbers aren't reported as much.
Yeah.
The testing doesn't work as well. There is less testing. All the things that are supposed to raise red flag alarms, they don't exist anymore. So like, we're not going to get those metrics really that are like, holy shit. Cause they basically intentionally got rid of them.
Yeah. Johns Hopkins is no longer going to be culling all the data to put it up. So that was like one of the main places that we were getting all the data. They're shutting it down.
But the point I wanted to make is, okay, let's just accept that. Let's take their numbers at face value, that it is as low as, it's dropped to a point that is that low. Are you not going to keep hospitals a safe place for people that have comorbidities? Like, why hospitals should always it should permanently be a place where people wear masks, regardless of COVID, because it's where sick people are.
Yeah.
Like and this is California, this liberal bastion, and we can't even fucking keep masks on a little longer than.
It's amazing. And there was another school shooting, and there might have even been two, but one at Michigan State, which is horrific. I mean, it's horrific. And gun violence is awful, but it doesn't even come close to the number of deaths where 250 people dying a day is still pretty significant. If somebody came and shot up 250 people in our country every day, there would be massive outcries. I mean, that means every 10 days, 12 days, there's another 9/11. We still have emergency authorization from 9/11. We still take our shoes off in airports because of 9/11. We will never forget 9/11. It's happening every 10 days in our country.
Absolutely. And I just remembered when I was telling people about my my day, I also got news that my friend's kid got shot, and it didn't even make the news. That's how common gun violence is in America too. Like, it's just really fucking depressing.
It is really depressing.
Like the one thing we have control over, like, we can wear masks. You don't have, it doesn't matter what your beliefs are on the vaccine or anything, but if we could just have a rational government that realizes on a basic level, a mask is a simple protection. It's not an infringement on your rights. Can we at least wear them in hospitals and on public transit so that immunocompromised people can live their lives? I mean, we have a national law on disabilities that says you have to have wheelchair ramps to, accessibility. So that's, we looked out for them to get into places. We can't look out so people don't just die when they go out in public.
I mean, and right now there's no plan to clean indoor air, which would be such an easy way of really, like, eventually then you really wouldn't have to wear a mask, right? But there's no plan for that.
It would cost businesses a couple $100.
Yeah. And monitoring, which we see with the railways, they're not going to monitor, right? So like you'd have to change out the filter every couple months and monitor the oxygen levels and all that kind of stuff. They won't do anything. I mean, they just won't do anything. So they lie and they put out that Cochrane study that people are still citing, which has been so debunked. But it doesn't matter because you just keep repeating a lie and people start to accept it. Well, masks don't work. The vaccines don't work. COVID's not that bad. I mean, it's just the lies just keep getting pushed out. And, more and more they're seeing that the more you are infected, but even one infection can have lifelong repercussions. And I think most people just are really not aware of that. Although they've recently, I guess it was on, what is it? What is her name? Hoda, the morning show, one of those morning shows. There was like a 7-minute segment about the rise in cardiac arrest and strokes with young people, like the 18 to 39 or 35-year-old group, that corresponds to rises in spikes in COVID, clearly not because of the vaccine, because it started before the vaccine even came. So these rises in cardiac arrest are because of even mild cases of COVID, even asymptomatic cases.
Yeah, and I think if you're somebody who's going to attribute these myocarditis and other illnesses, sudden deaths to the vaccine, why would you not also acknowledge that it's COVID? Because the way vaccines work, it just gives you a teeny fraction, smidgy bit of the real thing. And it only stays in your body for a short amount of time. Like most adverse reactions to a vaccine are within 48 hours. Some are within maybe 2 months, but at that point, all the vaccine is out of you. You don't have any of the vaccine in you, where COVID is in you in a massive dose in a lot of cases, and it goes everywhere and doesn't clear your body like a vaccine does.
Right.
So if you could see this little teeny fraction of a thing causing harm,
right,
not the big thing,
yeah,
you really have an agenda, or something is driving. So your emotional logic is stronger than your actual logic, because
yeah, and unfortunately, we have no fourth estate and no working government. So, I mean, I understand people are distrustful, they're frustrated. There is no plan being put out there. And again, like, 250 deaths a day. And it's so interesting because I will see liberals write about abortion. Like, if you're not pro-choice, I'm a one-issue voter. Like, they're really all about, they're fine being purity politics, right? If it's guns or abortion, which I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with purity. That means you have standards that you have. But like, if it's anything else, if it's healthcare that kills tens of thousands more people than gun violence, as horrible as gun violence is, that's a bridge too far. We had have to take slow steps, pragmatic steps. It's not going to happen that way. You have to convince more people. Maybe if you said it more nicely to me. I mean, they have all the reasons that they're going to, run cover for the Nancy Pelosi's of the world or the Biden, and act like it's not just as evil to ensure through your policies that there are needless deaths.
Well, COVID really exposed that there's no side fighting for us. So if you're like on the fence about third parties, neither of these parties, I mean, COVID is the only thing that got Biden elected. It was the people that thought maybe he'll be better on COVID, put him over the edge.
Yeah.
And now that the people that voted for him for that protection, I mean, think of all the people with long COVID. You think they're voting for Biden? Like, I mean, maybe, but nothing about COVID convinces them. Like, they're not going to think that.
Yeah. He handled it well.
This is great. They're being ignored completely by the entire administration. And that includes Bernie, who's the fucking chair of the Health and Human Services or whatever it is in the Senate. He now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people were saying, well, he's got the power to subpoena anybody he wants to go before the Senate. And that's great. And I hope he will, but he hasn't been critical of anybody on COVID. So any sort of push in that respect, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't get healthcare in the middle of a global pandemic where they're saying that a third of the deaths in our country, we're at 1.2 million, and I'm sure that's an undercount, can be blamed on the fact that we don't have universal healthcare, and they're still just marching forward, getting people back to work. Yeah, I don't know. Where's the ruckus? Bring that ruckus. I think we should spin the wheel.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my God.
Wall shot.
Oh my God. All right. Where's my vodka? I can like, honestly, I'm seeing triple at this point. Here we go.
Well, the green drink.
Why are you saying it's green? It's blue for me. Blue
Toxic
curacao.
blue. Well, I think because the green screen makes it disappear, and all I'm doing is looking up here and seeing a ghost of a drink. And I almost
thought maybe I missed an ingredient.
I almost poured this right into the green drink because
oh no, you went that separate.
Ooh, that's a hefty shot too.
Oh, well. You ready?
Cheers.
Cheers. I still have like a lining of the peach schnapps in there.
Yeah. I think I need to pour more Red Bull in there. I have a little Red Bull left. All right. That might
Oh, you're never gonna sleep tonight. That's what happens when you're old. That's all I can think about is that if I have too much of the Red Bull, I won't sleep well. All right, let's finish. Oh, I'm glad you removed it.
Yeah, baby.
Oh no.
Watch. I have the power to make them all disappear.
Really? What do you think? Oh, okay.
You don't get a vote here. Sorry.
It's not a democracy. Much like the US, this is not a working democracy.
I am the chairman of the wheel committee.
All right, but you still got to do this last shot.
The Senate wheel committee. I'm trying. Here we go.
All right.
Cheers. This one goes to Pete and all the assholes in the administration.
F Pete. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Not really something. This is a fun one. Here she is. Here she is, Miss.
We had her on last week.
We did, but we didn't get to her, and we saw a great clip with Donna Brazile, trying to champion her again, and we thought we really need to come back to this. It didn't get enough. Kamala Harris, this is from the New York Times last week, is trying to define her vice presidency. Even her allies are tired of waiting. She is such a wreck that
they went after her.
Some Democrats whom her own advisors referred reporters to for supportive quotes confided privately they had lost hope in her. This is from the New York Times.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's more. Wait, what was the other one?
Yeah.
Now with Mr. Biden appearing all but certain to run again, the concern over Ms. Harris has shifted to whether she will be a political liability for the ticket.
I mean, imagine people thinking you're worse than Biden. What was in this one? Such concerns about Harris's political strength were repeated often by more than a dozen Democratic leaders in key states interviewed for this story. Remedial reading for me. Harris's tenure has been underwhelming, they said, marked by struggles as a communicator and at times near invisibility, leaving many rank and file Democrats unpersuaded that she has the force, charisma, and skill to mount a winning presidential campaign. It's so unfortunate, and it is such a indictment of our whole system, because the truth is, I wouldn't care if she had no personality, if she actually fought for policies that could help this country. But like, nobody's even talking about her policies. It's all just about, like, is she a movie star? Is she a great politician? Does she have charisma? I don't give a fuck. Like, come out there and just be like, we need Medicare for all. This country needs Medicare for all. It would help our workers. They'd be able to strike. They'd be able to, hold out against their disgusting CEOs. Like, she has nothing. She's absolutely nothing. So, like, in the case of really all you're going to do is toe the party line, and you're that inept that you can't even get in front of a microphone and give a speech without cackling like some drunk housewife. Sorry, that's me right now. Like, it's so repugnant. I can't stand the state of our politics right now.
Yeah, I mean, she's atrocious. She was, anointed to be the next president before Biden, but was so bad at it that the only option they had left was Biden.
Yep.
But they realized, well, they had a shot with making Pete work a little bit. And so that's how Pete got into his powerful role within the Democratic Party, because he assisted Biden. And so, to me, this New York Times piece has all the markings of a Pete Buttigieg / Democratic Party hit piece. Liz. Yeah.
Oh, they're never going to let Liz come near.
No,
they're going to pretend.
Liz, no, Liz, Pete's campaign man.
Oh God.
Liz, isn't it Liz?
Yes.
It's
you
Liz.
know who? Yeah, she's horrible. Isn't she the one? She pretended that she was like a Black woman from Africa who also really loved Pete. She has like 2 different accounts, and on that account, she was like,
yeah, she's your prototypical like cartoon version of an evil campaign person, and that's just who she really is as a person. But but that's what this reeks of. I mean, they even got Hillary in there. They got everyone in the world attacked her that could possibly, you know, if you were on the verge of defending Kamala,
right,
you could lean to, well, Hillary likes her, but then no, Hillary attacked her.
There you go. Hillary Clinton says VP lacks political. And this I did think was just touched on about Warren. Warren actually kind of said something about her also, which is unusual for Warren not to do exactly what she's told, which makes me wonder if they allowed her to say.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Was that your point? Kiko's right. That trash can's getting to my head. I got you.
Well, no,
but then she did walk it back a little. Yeah.
My point is just that this is a New York Times article,
right?
Which means this was approved basically by the Democratic Party.
100%.
To take down Kamala, to make sure that what happens, that Pete takes over the ticket, or that Pete runs and has a lead.
Right.
And it definitely is going to be tricky to justify, if Biden runs again, removing the first Black woman
they won't
on the ticket.
They won't.
So, you know, there's got to be some sort of out, and the out, who knows, but they're priming it. So maybe they have some dirt on her to remove her with the dirt.
Yeah. But I wonder if they're going to still think that Pete's a good idea at this point. I mean, so I totally
I don't
agree
know
with you.
What options do they have though?
I mean, they might pluck some Democratic governor.
It's a VP. So you just
Gavin, what's his name? Gavin, our guy, Newsom. This was Donna Brazile, though, just this week on the Sunday shows, which I thought was interesting because maybe they're reevaluating because they're seeing how much Pete sucks at his job. Yeah.
They realized they could buy Kamala's team realized they could buy Donna Brazile like the Democratic Party bought her after her honesty about Bernie.
That could be.
So they lugged her out so that if you're Kamala, you can play the race card because Brazile.
All right, well, and wasn't but see, I know we were talking last week about how they changed the primary schedule and they have South Carolina first, which I thought was going to be a real train wreck, for Pete because he has no Black support. But you mentioned you thought that if Clyburn comes in and is like, he's the guy, let's do it. But I thought it was because of him, because Jill Biden absolutely did not want Kamala to be the VP. She was really upset by the whole "that little girl was me" comment on that one debate. But Clyburn kind of insisted, and that's why he delivered South Carolina and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder how quickly he would relinquish that, but we'll see. Do you want to show the Donna Brazile on the Sunday shows?
Well, okay, yeah, I guess so. Just to mock her, but let's show. Let's show. Where is it?
It's your show, Pat.
Here it is.
There are a number of other very qualified African American women who the president could pick. And all I'm saying is there's going to be that conversation. It's unlikely to happen, George, but because he's going to be 82 years old, that is going to be a much bigger focus than it's ever been.
First of all, I'm so glad you brought up Kamala Harris, because she is probably one of the most undefined human beings. She is incredible. She's standing in her own power. She has been at every step helpful to this president and getting his agenda through the United States Congress. And so while her poll numbers may not reflect her true popularity, I can guarantee you Kamala Harris will not be replaced on the party's ticket. And I can also guarantee you, if Joe Biden decides not to run, Kamala Harris will become the next nominee of the Democratic Party. And I don't understand why every time, something goes down, people are saying, Kamala, she is standing in her power. She's been incredible. She's been indispensable. And she's going to continue to serve as vice president.
And she's been invisible.
I know.
Look at her daily schedule every day. Every time I look at that daily schedule, the vice president has no public schedule.
That's on weekends.
Susan Page, the vice president does appear to be trying to turn that.
Man, if you're flailing in the polls, I don't know if you want Donna Brazile coming out on your side. She says she's an undefined woman. Like, I don't know. I think she didn't mean that word, but like, whoops. And then to say that the poll numbers aren't representative of her popularity, like that's all they are. What are you talking about?
If you think someone that ran for president is undefined, how is she going to define herself? She is defined. People don't like her. Californians don't like her. She was going to come in like 5th in California, so they pulled her from the race before they could be embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
She's well defined as a terrible fucking person, a terrible leader, and a person who lacks empathy, a hypocrite from all her drug laws that jailed people. I know people that work with her that fucking hate her, think she's a lazy, evil piece of shit.
Well, and there's been a huge amount of turnover of her staff. So people right now can't stand her. I mean, I wonder, I saw the comment that Daniel said that this is all laying the groundwork to blame Kamala if and when Biden loses, which might be because I think it's looking pretty bleak right now where a majority of the Democratic Party does not want Biden to run.
Right.
Yeah.
And that those numbers, it's early, all that can change in a heartbeat. But what does he have to fall back on when COVID is still trashing people? And that was the thing that put him over the top, because the economy, you could tell people the economy is doing great, but like his own base is most affected by the bad economy.
Yeah.
Like, they see through the bullshit about the economy more because you have more frontline workers, you have more middle-class people,
right?
You have more people of color. All these people are feeling the effects of this imbalanced economy than ever. And, if you're part of the millions that have long COVID, you're not going to vote for him.
Yeah. Or somebody who thought, he ran on saying we're going to get a $15 minimum wage, and they decided that they wouldn't get Kamala out there to insist on getting rid of the filibuster so we could have a $15 minimum wage, which they could have done that. Which
it all will come back anyway. 100%. It will all come back to Roe versus Wade Part 2. That's what we're looking at in 2024. Roe versus Wade Part 2. Taking I don't know, it's a Rocky sequel kind of thing where they're going to get in there. We're going to get the Congress. We're going to get the Senate, the House. We're going to codify Roe versus Wade.
Just like last time. I mean, just like when we did it with Obama.
6 elections, we said we'd do it.
Oh, yeah. Pretty bleak. All right. I think we should go, right? 6:08.
Go what? Where?
To do another spin the wheel.
Oh, it's the wheel. I thought you were saying go. I was like, what? We're not leaving.
No, we got some time. We got 2 more.
I got green drink left.
I got some some blue drink.
Yeah, baby.
Are you just a little sad that we don't have any shots left on the wheel? Like, I feel a little lonely on that wheel. No, just the segments.
I mean, I missed the visual, but no.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm actually really feeling like I should have. You know what I should have brought with my bar is like an Alka-Seltzer and a Prevacid or something. Okay, so wait, what did we just land on?
You're gonna lose our millennial audience.
If I know you're right. If I tell you about my aching stomach, my indigestions, plop plop, fizz fizz.
What do we?
Okay, so. There's so many problems with what's happening, but watching everyone circle the wagon around Democrats who break a strike, who don't give you a minimum wage, a living wage. I mean, $15 is ridiculous. $15 does nothing. It should be $25 now. And the fact that even Bernie, I think last week said that he was starting at $17. What are you talking about? That's not how you and he also did a thing. I mean, sorry, I know this isn't about Bernie, but saying he wants to make sure that the rail workers get 7 days of sick leave. Well, their ask was 15. Why are we already compromising at this point?
Yeah, the compromise was for 7 before they had actually voted on it, and they got none.
Yeah.
So wasn't the whole Bernie thing movement like make a big ask and then compromise?
Yeah, no middle ground. No middle ground. So the fact that Biden insists that the economy is going well, that he is doubling money for the police, that they are giving more money than the Pentagon even wants for the military budget, that we are in this horrific, basically World War III. They keep saying, oh, Russia's not doing as well as everyone thought that they would as this big, superpower, but they are fighting against all of NATO in Europe, basically. That we are in the middle of this is allowing the right to pretend to be semi-progressive and talk about how, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene was the first person member of Congress I saw even tweet about the toxins in the air after the rail worker strike.
It's wide open for the right to act like the Democrats are the heartless folks.
And I mean, they're not wrong
on so many issues. I mean, the one thing I thought for sure we'd have is, the right doesn't give a shit about COVID, and healthcare and protecting poor people. But even that has been ceded to the right. The right, it's just neutralized because the left hasn't
they've
done
neutralized it. I mean, it's like, remember when in 2016, when they were going to start bringing out something about Trump being pals with Epstein, and then we saw that Bill Clinton had been on the Lolita Express 26 times. So that neutralized that, right? The same thing happened in Virginia with McAuliffe and who's the guy down there now who beat him, and they're both like on the board of the Carlyle group. Like, if Democrats do every corrupt, evil thing that Republicans do, what's the difference?
And the classified documents that we're going to take down Trump. They were going to take him down, and then we got him to Biden's laptop. Well, let's just call it a draw. No one's going to talk about it anymore. It's all a wash. Although all we're going to hear now, because the Republicans took the Senate back, we're going to hear hearings on the Biden laptop, and
that's right.
And so right now, the Republicans are already ahead in the polls against Biden, and wait till they have TV shows every day with
Hunter Biden hearings, all of his
Biden laptop, and
So, and then also, and I know it's not sincere, but you have the only, and I shouldn't say it's not sincere. I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson. He seems to be the only person putting anti-war voices on the air, because it's not happening on CNN and MSNBC. So that is also, it's like widening this gap. Yeah.
Well, it is. You're making a very good point, because when you have, I hate to agree with you.
I really want to.
I would rather agree with Tucker. I'm kind of agreeing with you both, but the left has ceded this space for the anti-war right.
Yep.
Which is crazy. The anti-war right is Tucker. It's dipshits like that Jackson Hinkle fucking dipshit. And they're pretending, supporting Ukraine, supporting Russia is very different than being anti-war.
Right. And many of them actually are gearing up for war with China. So it's not like they're anti-war. They're just,
And look, if you want to support the anti-war speaker thing, I'm not going to knock it because Hinkle's there. If you guys are fans of that, because I support it. There's some great speakers there. Some excellent speakers at this anti-war rally coming up. But why would you have pro-war speakers along with your anti-war speakers?
Yeah.
I don't care if you have people on the right who disagree, even on abortion or whatever.
Yeah.
But your main issue is the war, and you have pro-war people speaking at it. So that is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
anyway, I derailed this conversation. Sorry.
No, but I mean, it's true. It's like the more that the bandwagon sort of like people circle around their team, and reporters are not asking hard questions of people they generally support, because most of the people in mainstream media are in the liberal party, corporate liberal Democratic Party. They are not really holding, they don't want to ask the tough questions of the Democrats in power, or half of the Republicans either, right? Like the whole Lincoln Project group and Nicole Wallace and all the people out of George W. Bush's war criminal administration. So they don't ask any questions. They don't hold them to account. And so, right, then the only people who do are on Fox News. So like there was just this segment with a Black farmer on Fox News saying Biden's about to allow a protection to expire. J.W. Boyd, president of the National Black Farmers Association, discusses farmers fearing crisis as farming bill set to expire and Biden not addressing it. That's on Fox News, right? So because the people who are in alignment with the Democratic Party refuse to call out Biden and his administration on anything apart from his withdrawal from Afghanistan, which is like the one good thing he's done, they're allowing Fox and Republicans in power to act like they're the party of the working class. And they're not.
They so
this
clearly
is
aren't.
all being done cynically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, for Tucker Carlson to seem like the working class side of the Republicans is like doubly what the fuck, because he was the idiot that would wear a bow tie. I mean, he was the young Republican guy coming out of college who was just like, he held every trickle down economics view that ever existed, that poor people should work themselves up from their bootstraps and the government should supply no help. And,
don't
that was
tax
Tucker
the
Carlson.
wealthy. How much do you want to tax? Like, right. Exactly.
Yeah. And he's
job
no
creators.
He's just branded himself. And that's the thing, that people, Tucker and people on the right some of them are branding touching into this segment of the anti-war, it's an area that should be taken by the left, but isn't. There isn't a big anti-war Democratic progressive piece, because none of the progressives are anti this war with Ukraine. Some of them are calling for more diplomacy. Well, that's pretty fucking vague. Well,
no, then they right away, they got 1 ounce of pushback and right away retracted that. I'll tell you who is anti-war.
There's no upside. We're a very powerful nuclear country, and so are they.
And now we have a war between Russia and Ukraine, with potentially hundreds of thousands of people dying. We must demand the immediate negotiation of a peaceful end to the war in Ukraine, or we will end up in World War III, and there will be nothing left of our planet, all because stupid people.
Well, peace, we should have never been involved with a certain war that's taking place right now that's really hurting killing a lot of people, but hurting a lot of countries.
Nuclear holocaust would be like no other. They're a very powerful nuclear country, and so are we.
The fake news said my personality would get us into a war. I'm telling you, that guy's going to get us into a war. But actually, my personality is what kept us out of war. I was the only president in nearly 4 decades who did not get America into any new conflicts. Instead, I brought our troops and our wonderful children back home. I brought them back home where they belong.
I mean,
he's not wrong on that.
He's not wrong on that. He's disgusting, but like, he's not wrong. I mean, I don't even know where we are right now when Trump, when he assassinated, was it the Syrian or Iranian general? I thought we were going to have a nuclear war, or like start. Yeah, I thought that was going to really set things off pretty awfully. But apart from that, he's disgusting. I mean, I feel like, God, do I really have to say this every time? But like, we have been at a state of close to World War III for the last full year. And, I know we're not doing a whole segment on it this
The
week,
doomsday
but
clock.
the doomsday clock. But like, there was they just showed, Cy Hirsch just did a really great long piece about how basically it was the US who blew up Nord Stream pipeline, which is because not only does that exacerbate the problems in Germany and all of Europe with gas, it was also a huge environmental disaster. Nobody's going to pay the price for that at all. Also, it was just revealed by the former Prime Minister of Israel that they were close to a peace between Ukraine and Russia back in April. And the US said, nope, you can't let it go through. We need to keep this war. We need to weaken Russia. So that was in April. That is now, what is that, 11 months, 10 months of death and devastation in both countries. But even if you only care about Ukraine, they are being demolished right now.
Well, what does Biden have? What is the record of the Democrats? I mean, they're hanging their whole hat on the economy right now. Like that's what they've got.
Oh my God.
So if you're a realist about how the economy is impacting you, that's not going to work, right?
Right.
For a lot of people in the economy, selling yourself as that is not going to work. So that's why they really are pushing for this good versus evil Ukraine versus Russia thing, so they can pin, World War II. This is the battle for World War II. Anything that happens in our country, it's more important to stop Hitler than, the public transit, the homeless problem, the drug problem, the
Health,
health insurance,
everything. Yeah.
It's more important to stop Hitler. Which if you believe he was Hitler, okay. But I mean, people realize, he's not Hitler. It could be an evil war.
Right.
But there's no domino theory where all that goes boom, 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 and we're up against Russia on our doorstep.
Yeah, he's not trying to take over all of Europe.
The way we get into a battle with Russia is we keep supplying weapons for this war, and we keep we give them tanks, we give them long-range missiles that can fire into Russia. We do all the things we're doing now. That's how we get into a war with Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, and when more things keep seeping out, they're burning all Russian books now in Ukraine. They're huge. Like, this is not a democracy. They are like are signing deals with BlackRock, one of the most evil companies, to come in and privatize the whole country. They are depleting labor unions. They are banning Russian language, certain political parties that are the left-wing political parties. Again, they're not banning the Nazi parties. I mean, this is not a battle of good versus evil. This is a battle that the US wants to supply gas to Europe and weaken Russia and have this be a testing ground for our weapon systems. It is, I mean, and to the last Ukrainian. I mean, they said, we will fight to the last Ukrainian. That is not showing allyship with that country.
I mean, and there are other pieces to it too, which that benefit the U.S. Weakening Russia is one part. Uranium in Ukraine. I mean, for the batteries,
lithium,
electric car battery, lithium.
Yeah.
Lithium in Ukraine is a benefit. No one's talking about all the benefits to access to all that lithium. Russia has tons, but we don't have much. Is the whole point on that side. The military industrial complex funding our whole government, funding all these politicians, they are buying their vote in all this stuff because they need to justify spending money. And so we need to give them our tanks so we can get new tanks. And it's just an ongoing cycle of spending a shit ton of money, which when we left Afghanistan, it was inevitable we'd find some place to do it.
Of course. Yeah. Yep. And we don't have anybody on the, floor of Congress the way they have in the UK. We don't have a Claire Daly or a Mick Wallace even, I I'm trying to remember who it was. I think in one of the, not Congress people, but members of parliament from Italy is also speaking out. I mean, we don't have anybody speaking out. Nobody in our political system. Every once in a while, Rand Paul will say something, but then he backtracks usually. Yeah. But so what that does is it makes the two parties pretty, I mean, so basically it all comes down to, woke politics where, we're going to push up, Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris, and they're going to push up Nikki Haley and whoever the hell. And then what's the difference? Roe versus Wade, I guess.
I mean, they're making about all these issues, which I don't want to minimize those issues. Trans rights issues matter.
Of course.
Racial equality matters. All that stuff matters. But it allowed them to be the same on all these other issues. And we're down to the branding is is the change in America too fast because God and being white is losing its value, or should we, and that's a clear distinction, which, we all watching the show lean to all those left issues.
Right.
But we have no home for all the other issues. Every other issue, we have no home for it and no voice, and no one's fighting for us. The media is protecting them, protecting the regular public from even knowing about all the other issues in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big kayfabe. Is that what it's called? Kayfabe? Pretend. What is that? That's what the wrestling.
You're younger than me.
I'm so much younger than you.
I think we should timeline cleanse our way out of this.
I know. I'm so excited that we actually are going to get to timeline cleanse. We have a couple of them, right?
I'm going to start with one, then you can show one of yours. How's that?
All right. Okay, good.
Because I feel like we need some sage advice.
When you have a bad day, give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow.
I live by that one.
That was a good one. You want to show another one? Another little piece of advice?
Yeah. We should keep getting some advice, I think. Then we'll show yours. What do you think?
Give yourself the gift of 30 minutes extra sleep every day by taking your morning shit at work. You will thank me later.
Oh my God. Last one.
Yeah, I was gonna give TMI, but I'm gonna move on.
Fuck your work deadline. If you make it, you make it. If you don't make it, you don't make it. Fuck it. It is not life. It is only work.
I think we should end on that. Fuck it. It's not. It's only life. It's not work. Or I can't even. I'm gonna have to go back.
Especially now, workers don't feel loyal to any workplace.
Oh
unless it's a small place, and you know them and you trust them and love them as a real person, but don't feel loyal to any corporation you ever work.
It's that thing. We're family. You're fired. Hey, we do have a programming note. We are excited to be co-hosting this coming Sunday with Keaton from Do Dissidents. We will be on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Do Dissidents, and we will put out a tweet about that for sure. We're really excited. We had a great time on their show before, and I think Russell's headed to India for travels. I'm not sure, but so that will be fun.
Weren't we supposed to start a podcast beef with them? A fake podcast beef to elevate
the thing?
Shows. Yeah, I think
that was get some more clicks. That's our
Fuck those guys. Join us for the debate on Sunday.
Yeah, debate me, bro.
Keaton's going down.
He is going down. It's Punch Up Pod versus Do Dissident.
I can't wait.
No, we're really excited. So that'll be Sunday evening. And I don't know. Until then, drink all the drinks. Keep punching up. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to be feeling this.
It's a work in progress. Don't forget to call my boss, Lila.
Where says Russell is in India. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. We love you guys. Cheers. Keep punching up. We'll see y'all soon. Thank you.